When is a tank not a tank? It cannot be denied the American M10 Booker is an imposing vehicle on the battlefield. This 42-ton beast is armed with a lethal 105mm M35 tank gun that can shred through concrete fortifications to clear the way for the infantry and tear apart enemy armored vehicles, including main battle tanks that lack sufficient armor to resist the impact of its gun. But the M10 is supposedly a mere mobile protected firepower platform. Armed with 2 heavy machine guns, it's designed to support soldiers as they make their way through urban environments where danger lurks around every corner or window. Although some generals have referred to it as a light tank, the Army still officially denies the term, perhaps because the M10 Booker is about to be sent on missions a tank has never been used in before. The United States military has always struggled to find a place and use for a light tank among its ground forces. The Army has been desperately trying to do so since World War II, when the Army introduced its first light tank, the M22 Locust. The tank weighed just over 7.4 tons, had a length of 12 feet, a width of 7 feet, and a height of just 6 feet. Manned by a crew of 3, loader, gunner, and driver, the Locust was armed with only a 37mm gun and a 7.62mm machine gun. Protection was minimal, offering just 12.5mm of armor. The Locust was meant to be deployed via glider to support airborne units and standard infantry, but less than a dozen saw service during the war. The Army successfully employed the M24 Chaffee during the conflict, but sought a more mobile platform. In the 1950s, it sought to replace this light tank with the M41 Walker Bulldog, intended for armed reconnaissance. The Bulldog performed well in combat, but was deemed too heavy for the airborne role and too large for the reconnaissance. The trend of finding a balance between size, mobility, and firepower continued with the 1960s M551 Sheridan. Technical problems plagued the tank from the start, and it did not perform well in the jungles of the Vietnam War. Nevertheless, the Sheridan went on to serve in Panama. Following this conflict, the Army set out to replace it with a true light tank that could successfully support infantry units in combat operations. However, it would still take a few tries to get it right. The Army developed several programs in the 1990s to eliminate the Sheridan. In June 1992, the institution partnered with FMC to develop the M8 Armored Gun System, or Buford, a light tank design intended to replace the Sheridan and TOW missile Humvees employed by the 82nd Airborne Division and the Armored Cavalry Regiment. After a series of setbacks and increasing costs, the Armored Gun System was canceled in 1996. Following 9/11, the Army initiated the Future Combat System program to modernize its armored vehicles and other assets by merging them with rising technology and UAVs to make them fully autonomous. Then in 2015, the Army launched the Next Generation Combat Vehicle program to procure a new generation of armored vehicles. The Mobile Protected Firepower, or MPF Fire Support Vehicle, was part of this ambitious project. The MPF's objective was to support infantry brigade combat teams. The request for proposals stated the vehicle had to operate in austere and unpredictable locations. Ultimately, the competition was narrowed down to BAE Systems and General Dynamics Land Systems. The first offered a design based on the M8 Armored Gun System, while the second opted for a variant of the Griffin II. The Army was determined to make the MPF the perfect combat vehicle that merged mobility, protection, and firepower into an affordable program. The new design had to be light enough to accompany soldiers where the colossal 70-ton M1 Abrams main battle tank could not. From dense jungles and mountainous terrain to narrow streets in urban areas, the MPF had to be fast, maneuverable, and resistant to 50 caliber machine gun fire and explosives to adequately protect fellow infantrymen. In addition, the vehicle had to be armed with enough firepower to help soldiers get rid of enemy fortifications, such as bunkers, artillery emplacements, and enemy armored vehicles, including older model tanks, such as the Soviet T-55. If such a vehicle could be produced, it would help the capabilities of light infantry brigades for rapid deployments across all sorts of environments, retaining enough firepower to break through enemy positions while staying mobile to follow the infantry and leave the heavy duty to the one and only M1 Abrams. The Army noted the MPF would be destined for airborne and light infantry units, which had lost tracked armor since the retirement of the Sheridan, as it expected it would have half the weight of the Abrams. In 2022, the Army awarded a $1.14 billion contract to General Dynamics for the Mobile Protected Firepower program and production of 96 MPFs. A year later, during the 248th anniversary ceremony of the Army at Fort Belvoir, Army Chief of Staff General James McConville announced the official name of the MPF, the M10 Booker combat vehicle. The M10 Booker honors 2 soldiers that served in combat vehicles. It bears the last name of Medal of Honor recipient Private Robert D. Booker, who lost his life in World War II, and Distinguished Service Cross recipient Staff Sergeant Stephen A. Booker, who also lost his life during Operation Iraqi Freedom. General McConville noted, quote, "The M10 Booker combat vehicle is named in their honor because it will accomplish what they both did, enabling squads to continue pushing forward through heavy machine gun fire while protecting our most important weapon system, our soldiers." The M10 Booker would provide infantry forces with a new level of lethality and protection, allowing them to keep the momentum in the heat of battle and overmatch any adversary. Major General Glenn Dean, the program's executive officer for ground combat systems, told the press, quote, "The M10 Booker is an armored vehicle that is intended to support our infantry brigade combat teams by suppressing and destroying fortifications, gun systems, entrenchments, and secondarily, then providing protection against enemy armored vehicles." The Booker resembles a mix between a small Abrams tank and a Soviet BMP-2 amphibious infantry fighting vehicle. It is armed with a 105mm main gun and an armored chassis of the IFV. General Dynamics Land Systems specified in a press release that the Booker, quote, "employs a 4-person crew and features an enhanced thermal viewer, a large caliber cannon, a lightweight hull and turret, and a modern diesel engine, transmission, and suspension system. It's been designed from the start for capability upgrades based on future operational needs." Although the Booker may look like a light tank because it's armed with a powerful gun and has tracks, the Army has refused to call it one. Despite having its origins as a light tank, it is not one. Doug Bush, Assistant Secretary of the Army for Acquisition, Logistics, and Technology, told Task and Purpose, quote, "I will spare you the esoteric and borderline religious debate among the armor community. It is a combat vehicle. That is the proper characterization." Major General Dean specified the historic use of a light tank has been to perform reconnaissance operations, but the Booker is not a recon vehicle, but an assault gun envisioned to assist the infantry in breaking through enemy fortifications. He added, quote, "Historically, it's not actually a mission match, even though it looks like, feels like, and smells like a tank." The Army will conduct operational tests of the Booker combat vehicle in late 2024 and early 2025. It is expected to fully equip the first unit in late 2025. Over 33 Bookers will be part of the first batch, out of an expected acquisition of more than 500 combat vehicles.